For the public's knowledge, Mr. Nelson is still upstairs at a Law Enforcement Center Authority meeting. He'll be down shortly, hopefully. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I'll move it. Second by Taylor. Hearing no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Items 2 through 8 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 2 is approval of the minutes of the April 2nd meeting. Item 3 is approval of the claims. Item 4 from the county treasurer is to approve the property tax refund request for parcel ending in 0008 in the amount of $56. Item 5 from the county auditor is to receive the auditor's quarterly report. Item 6 from board administration includes item A, approval to lift the tax suspension for initials SH. B, approval of resolution for a tax suspension for initials JN. C, approval of resolution for a tax suspension for initials TG. D, approval of resolution thanking and commending Julie Connolly for her years of service with Woodbury County. And I'm aware that the examining board is seeking applications right now according to rules in the code. And item E is approval to reappoint Mark Munson, still volunteering for stuff out there, and Kevin Kay to the Community Action Agency of Siouxland Board of Directors. Item 7 from Board Administration from Dennis Butler is to set the public hearing for the FY25 proposed budget on April 30th at 4:45 p.m. And item 8 from Human Resources includes A, approval of memorandum of personnel transactions, and B, authorization to initiate the hiring process. I'll move the consent agenda. Second by Radig. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0. Item 9 from the Community Action Agency of Siouxland. We have Jean Logan and her colleagues here with us for information. This is to talk about Week of the Young Child, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I have with me Katie Logan, our Development Director, and Christy Beatty, who is our Assistant Director for our Early Childhood Programs. We have brought you a beautiful canvas from one of our centers. We call it English. It's on 18th Street. And so this artwork has been done by 3- and 4-year-olds, and it's entitled
String Delight.
String Delight.
And they dipped pieces of string in paint and then drug their strings across the canvas.
So we're here this week to celebrate the Week of the Young Child. We have most of the funding that we receive is from Head Start and Early Head Start, but we also do have state funding, and we also have to do some fundraising for our early childhood programs. And so we just wanted to have everybody celebrate with us this week. Also, thank you for appointing both Mark Munson and Kevin Kay, reappointing them back to the board. We appreciate that. So this is for you. I hope you find a nice place for it.
Thank you.
I'll move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Bittinger. Yeah, please.
Are we gonna have a picture with them?
That would be wonderful.
That would be fun.
I'll just go down
Okay, we'll deputize you.
So, you know, Keith is your representative
Oh,
on our board,
course.
so I would really
think they're coming
appreciate a
down.
photo. That would be
want to
great.
come up here?
Okay.
We have,
Oh, you gotta go. Dennis, can you take a picture?
I got it.
Thank you.
Can you with my phone too?
Sure. Do you want me to do it sideways?
Yes.
I think so too, yeah. I just don't want the. This'll work. All right. Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good, thank you.
We'll see if the media reports that all of us pooled our talents together and did that tonight. Thank you. Item 10 from Secondary Roads, County Engineer Mark Nara includes 4 action items. The first is A, approval of resolution of the annual weed destruction order for 2024. As you know, these are date certain times that certain weeds will be eradicated.
The idea is before they get to the point where they're spreading seed to get out and get them destroyed. Even after all of Jared's diligent work last year, some survivors remain. I recommend approval of the weed destruction order.
I'll second the motion by Radig. We're serious this time. This better not come back. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0.
As long as people buy some out-of-state seed stock, I'm afraid we're gonna still see a few stragglers coming in once in a while.
All right. Item B is award quote to Old Castle Infrastructure for a precast RCB culvert to replace County Bridge U-137.
U-137 is south of an old truss bridge on Hancock Avenue, just northeast of Hornick. The truss structure has been closed for about 7 years. It is scheduled to be let and replaced with federal aid money later this year. I wish I had a date certain for you. The plans are done, but we've been forced to go through another round of architectural survey on it now. The bridge is over 50 years old. The state is now requiring, I shouldn't say state, the federal government, which is the primary funding source for the bridge, is requiring that we go through an architectural survey before the bridge is removed. Hopefully it's a common enough bridge that they'll just give us a blessing and let us knock it down, and we don't need to go through all the pains we did on the Mason Avenue Bridge a couple years back, where our legacy from that bridge stands proudly on the northwest corner of the new bridge. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's beautifully painted, well done by my crew as far as the exhibit of the old truss joint that was built out there. Hopefully we don't end up with anything like that on this structure, but U-137 lies to the south. It is just a short span timber and steel structure. It is load restricted. There's no sense leaving it in place and then putting a brand new bridge immediately north of it. We're not making any improvements for the property owners. Our hydraulic design showed that we could get by with this box culvert, remove all surface impediments for turning traffic there, and it'd be a significant improvement. We got bids from 2 concrete culvert suppliers. Old Castle was low. I recommend award. Our staff will do the installation with the exception of setting the sections. We'll have to rent a crane service to do that for us, but that's typically a 1-day operation to have a crane come in and set those in place. Our crew will then do the backfill and get the road prepped. So
Mark, in general, was this about double about what a culvert was 4 or 5 years ago?
the last one we purchased was a 10 by 5, and it came in at a little over $37,000.
This was about 71, right?
Yeah, but this is a 14 by 7. The prior one, if memory serves, was a 10 by 6. So smaller, a little less concrete, a little less reinforcing steel, but it still represents a significant increase. I would have expected a couple of years ago, this would have come in somewhere around 60,000.
Is it any of our fault?
No.
Okay.
We're gonna have that discussion as we go over the budgeting program as well today, so. This is one of the issues. I was returning concern on a bridge project today to one of our constituents out there. His project is one of those that I had to move back in the program for a lack of funding. We're looking at bridges costing more than 25% more right now than they did as recent as 2020. The construction index that DOT, they track that throughout the year, was just over a 25% increase in costs in the last 3 years. So,
But in general, as a board and as an engineer, we've planned ahead in our program, and obviously inflation affects this as well. So in the future, it'll probably mean, 25% less bridges repaired, replaced in the
Well,
program.
I have not added a new bridge project to our program in the last 2 years. And this year would be the 3rd year of doing that. We've just had to kind of stretch them out. I guess I was going to be part of the discussion on the next couple of items, but it is kind of pertinent. I need to discuss with the board the adjustments we've had to make in the program to keep things moving forward, so.
I'll move to award.
I'll second the motion by Radig. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 4-0. Item C is approve the FY 2025 Woodbury County Secondary Roads Department budget. You want to briefly explain why it's being considered, separately from our budget hearing and?
The DOT budget is required to be submitted on April 15th to the Iowa Department of Transportation. Secondary road departments did not get the same waiver from the state legislature that the county boards of supervisors did. The budget figures are based on the numbers we turn into the county. The biggest difference between the line item numbers that you see on the county DOT budget and the numbers that you've worked with in developing the county secondary road budget at the county level is that all of the payroll goes into one or two boxes within our department. We have the engineering staff that's paid for in one lump of numbers in the county budget, and the maintenance staff that's paid for in a different lump of numbers. And then in each of the line items, things like gravel, 8-inch asphalt repair, bridges, culverts, those items in the county budget represent only the material costs that we purchase to take care of the roads. For the DOT budget, we have tracked payroll distributions before I got here, and I distribute the anticipated and budgeted labor at the county level into each of the roughly, I think it's 11 budget areas that the DOT tracks on our behalf. So for instance, portions of each man's budget over the course of the year, he might have some hours in snow removal, might have some hours in culvert repair, ditch cleaning, equipment servicing, whatever it happens to be. A percentage of everybody's salary is translated into those items and then added to the budget for materials that the board's approved at the county level. So it's by doing that shuffling that we come up with the numbers that we utilize for DOT. As you can see, there wasn't a lot of difference in our total revenues. I mean, for going back to fiscal year 2023, 2024, 2025, the budget's relatively flat. We're within $2,000 of where we were in 2023, and our costs are anticipated to be quite a bit higher as we go into 2024. Our revenues we went up about $200,000 in anticipated road use tax funds. Only $2,000 in time 21 as far as budget figures. We're anticipating an additional $25,000 coming in local option sales tax revenues. Sometimes, as you can see, we've done better on that in the last couple of years, but we never know until we get to the end of the fiscal how that one's going. Our program expenditures for next year are basically in and out. You'll see a federal aid BR bridge for $1.2 million. That's the truss bridge we were talking about, U-138. Basically, it's $1.2 million comes in, or whatever the contract amount is, $1.2 million goes out. So that's strictly a pass-through with our budget. The remaining balance will build one bridge on 180th Street is anticipated, and then pay for the drainage district improvements that we're doing in cooperation with the Farmers Drainage District on 280th Street where they'll be regrading it's called lateral H in their mapping. It's the north ditch on 280th Street. It's also the avenue which Salix gets rid of the water in. And this is a much needed improvement to assure that we have flow running from basically US 75 where Salix currently inserts their water. And this isn't being done because of Salix. This is being done because in 2006 and 2007, this is one of 5 laterals that were overdug. When the contractor came in there, I think he was mining for dirt because he came in at all of our crossroad culverts between 6 inches and a foot too deep. So you don't necessarily drain things by getting them deeper than your outlet structures. And that carries all the way down to the Farmers District outlet into the main ditch. So these are the things that are going to be corrected in the project that the Farmers District is letting in cooperation with the board this summer. But again, that has been one of the reasons we've had to punt some bridges back, is that we're using what local money we do have to assist with that much needed project. One of the problems that we've had with those ditches that were overdug also is we've had a lot of slope failures on our foreslopes. When you take a 3-to-1 foreslope, cut the toe out of it, and it remains wet, those slopes have a tendency to fail and slide. So this project is very beneficial to the county, and we'll probably have to look at it at a couple more miles of road as time goes by. But this is the one that the Farmers District is working on first, and I concur with that. So those are the big projects that are in the program funded locally. That's pretty much just what we're looking at for next year, and I recommend approval. The budget is submitted.
I'll move that. Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes 4-0. And item D is to approve the FY 2025 Woodbury County Secondary Roads Department 5-year construction program.
Move it.
I'll second the motion by Raddick. Anything to add?
Yeah, if I could, please. I've moved 3 bridges that were anticipated to be funded with local money to the federal aid program. We're allowed to borrow ahead 4.5 years in federal aid. By adding those 3 bridges to be paid for with federal aid that we had formerly planned to pay for with county funds directly, we're able to keep those bridges in the program. Again, there'll be a pass-through like the bridges were this year. Those bridges are all structures that are relatively easy to replace. They're not anything that's a historic asset. There shouldn't be any major channel changes or issues out there that will give the county trouble as they go through. Costs were updated on these projects as I went through and did the program. We're still trying to anticipate where costs are going to go over the next 5 years, and hopefully we did well. Again, there are no new projects added to the program. We've just taken the 5-year program and stretched it into 6, basically. At this point in time, we don't have any other options. But again, I don't believe in going all the way out to the 4.5-year borrow head. If we have a structure fail in a flood that isn't funded by FEMA, that gives us some borrowing capacity that in future years you would have some federal aid available to assist with a replacement that comes along at that point. It pays to be ahead of the program. We typically run less than a year to somewhere around 2.5 years borrowed in advance. If the program isn't renewed in the next federal aid highway bill, they can't take away the money once it's pounded into the ground and firmly attached with concrete. So I'd rather be ahead of the system than have a big balance sitting there and have it evaporate at the end of the next highway bill. At least that's been my philosophy with it for the past 15 years as we go through in programs. But again, I recommend approval of the 5-year program as submitted, and if you guys have any specific questions, I can answer them.
Hearing no further questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 4-0.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may, can I ask you a quick question, Mark?
Sure.
I wanted to pass this along by way of a compliment to you, a knowledge of a local citizen turned somewhat lobbyist, complimenting you for your specificity regarding House File 17 and letting legislators know the implications of what they're doing. Your plans for next year, are you going to be locally accessible in this area?
People will have my super secret cell phone number if
Okay.
I needed for that. It's a fight I'd like to continue because it frustrates me that the legislature was not willing to address it this year.
And I know that was far afield, and I don't want to deliberate or debate anything along these lines, but I just want to raise, how much do we pay ISAC per year, Dennis, roughly?
I'd say about 2,500. Now I'm guessing because it's in the budget. I don't have it with me.
The idea was just raised that, given your compendium of knowledge and how much you've been educating legislators, that having some sort of consortium and being able to tap your expertise, there may be an opportunity for future boards to think of in the future. So that's, all of that's just by way of complimenting the way that you've been able to help guide us and other kind of counties along the way.
Woodbury County is still my home, so if there's something that can be done next year and moving that forward, it's, like I said, it's a fight I'd like to continue because it was very frustrating that they wouldn't take it on this year. I think there seems to be a desire to see some pain in the county so that it illustrates the problem. And I'm afraid one of our neighbors to the north may be the county that's going to be feeling that pain next year, which Osceola is one of those 75% counties.
Well, and the nice thing that I heard back was that you just don't show what the problem is, but what solutions are, or could possibly be, and that's a rare gift, so thank you.
Working with the county engineers legislative committee, we came up with 3 more possible solutions that did not involve property tax dollars, but we couldn't get any traction on them. So, thank you.
Item 11, any reports on committee meetings?
Yeah, I'll start. Just had 2, had Veterans Affairs we met. Everything's going smoothly, and we're working on an event for the veterans, and that's coming up in the summer, so I don't have the details all of it yet, but we are working on a veterans, I don't know, extravaganza, that's all, I don't know. We don't have it coined yet, trademark, but we're trying to do more things to pull in the whole family of veterans and their families, so more details to come on that. And then secondly, had the quarterly Iowa Department of Corrections meeting. All the audits came back good, and overall, it was a shout out to all the parole officers there working over there at the 3rd District. Just a lot of good reports and their yearly, yearly reviews. Everything came back very high. We have a very thorough and dedicated office over there that's working to help people put their lives back on order, and complete their probation. And so just props to them and Maureen over there, just in how she's leading the office over there. So that's all that I have.
Item 12, any citizen concerns or anything not already addressed on the agenda? Seeing none. Item 13, any board concerns? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Well, it's interesting because we haven't really touched them in years, and so it's good for my dad to think about. They're strange, but yeah, I'll have him reach out. Thanks for things that are done. So I just wanted to ask him, it was a half day afterward, he said it was a little bit undesirable. It's weird because you've been a stranger. My whole life. Very little contact. My father has been And it's really unfortunate because they kind of grew up in hell. You know, I mean, it wasn't a good situation. My dad went one way. I know. I've been the other.
So, okay, actually, he, like,
Subsequently, so they got all these